Okay, we're going to get the bus now to the Magic Kingdom. The Disney bus, yeah. I think there's a special spot where we go on the bus. There's a whole thing there.
Jim's own spot.
So these are the complimentary Disney buses that you can get all throughout Disney property. You can get them to all the various hotels and all of the parks as well. They are completely wheelchair accessible. They let you board the bus first and they're relatively easy to get onto. Then they winch you in place so there is no chance of you going anywhere.
You ain't going anywhere, are you? Strapped right in.
On all of the buses that I went on, I saw that there were 2 spaces available for wheelchairs. Now, it's not just wheelchairs that can go in these spots. I saw mobility scooters in these spots as well.
Look out, Daisy. Hey, you're here.
Really wanted to go on Splash Mountain, Space Mountain, and we're going on the Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, so this one, yeah, we're just about to get on Splash Mountain. Oh goodness.
Yeah, that
I
kid
don't
got
want to
soaked.
get wet.
Hey, here we go. Whoa!
Got to cut some of the line. We are currently in line for Splash Mountain and Sean is going to hopefully film me transferring so you can see how hard or how difficult it is to transfer into Splash Mountain.
Are we doing 1 row or 2?
1 row.
Alright, and then we go on the front or the back?
Back with me.
Alright, just me.
Alright, getting ready to go.
You excited, Daisy?
No.
Yeah, but don't roll in.
Excited. I'm amazing excited.
This is one of the harder rides to transfer into.
Yes, the shape of that log.
Yeah.
Also because it's slippery.
Yeah, it's
You
slippery.
can't get your wheelchair right up because of those barriers.
Alright, it'll be the next one. Alright, guys?
But this is like, it's quite an old ride, whereas like Mine Train, they've made it more accessible because it's wider and everything. So on the transfer scale, it's the higher 20th time.
Yeah. Come on then. Not that much time. Get in, darling, yeah.
So what I found to be the best way was to try and bring myself up at a bit of a right angle in parallel with the log, as you can see here. Make sure that you lock your brakes because you don't want to slip away. Then I pushed myself forward on the wheelchair and I put one hand on the ride to support myself and then another hand behind the ride. As you can see, it is quite a squeeze. I am quite slim, but it could be quite tricky. I'm also really bendy, so that worked in my favour as well, but it definitely wasn't easy to transfer here. Getting ready to disembark, but remember that if you wet.
There's your chair, all ready for you.
Cast members were fantastic and brought my wheelchair over. Again, I put my wheelchair parallel to the log, and then I had to try and get out. Now this was fun. Now I'm strong when I push down like this, and gravity is definitely working against us here, and it was quite tricky, but I just sort of pushed my way up and sort of slid into my wheelchair. I have got a little bit of function below my injury, so that worked in my favour too.
As you might have seen, I needed a lot of upper body strength to kind of push myself out.
And it was a bit slippery, wasn't it?
It was a little bit slippery, but it was okay. And yeah, the pushing down motion, I'm actually quite strong in that department. But when people say, oh, your arms must be really strong, they're not. But I think it's like here. So I play to my strengths. So we've just done Splash Mountain. Daisy, is it just as good?
Just
Yeah, and I sat in a different seat, so I didn't get as wet, and I kind of saw new things as well, even though I've done that ride like a lot of times. But now, oh Lord, now we're on our way to get a DAS pass for Space Mountain. We're in Tomorrowland, finally. It's so cool, and we're just gonna go over to Space Mountain, which is that massive one over there. Creating a magic moment.
Very clever. Well done.
Now, I was asked about the accessibility for the People Mover, which is a little train that goes around Tomorrowland, and it goes above your head. You will see it in just a minute. Here it comes. Ready? There is the People Mover. Now, if you can't walk at all, or you can only take a few steps, it's not accessible. You have to walk up a moving travelator and then get on the ride there. You can't take your wheelchair up to the People Mover, so unfortunately I wasn't able to go on it.
Ready to take the flight with Space Mountain time!
Children at all times. And remember,
We're just waiting for Space Mountain now, and that was quite a hike up here, so there's something definitely to bear in mind. And also it was quite steep as well, so we're just going to wait and see what the transfer is like. With a lot of them, they have like openings which are smaller, and then at the end they usually have a larger one for the wheelchair. They were going to put me on one of the ones that was smaller, but I have requested to go on the larger opening, which is over there.
Gonna do it on your own? Should be alright.
Space Mountain is definitely a tricky one. It's very low to the ground. The best way I decided was to put your bottom on the side of the ride, then place one leg into the ride, then put your bottom in, and then put the other leg in. The last time I tried to put my legs in first, and I ended up knocking the crossbar down.
That was hard enough for me to get in, let alone you. You ready? You ready for this? Here we go. Down the chute. Down the chute. Alright. Just be ready for it, guys. It's all good. Here we go. Yeah! Look at that! Cool! That's cool!
Space Shuttle, this is Flight Safety.
And we're back. We made it.
I actually almost fainted on that one.
The cast members were fantastic and brought my wheelchair over and put it parallel to the ride. I transferred the way I transferred getting in, so bottom onto the side of the ride, one leg out, one leg staying in, and then I kind of, I don't know, pushed myself up by grabbing hold of anything that I could, and then bringing the other leg out, and of course putting my mini ears back on.
Me, like a doofus. We all look like doofuses.
Oh, Daisy looks cute.
Yeah, except for Daisy.
Oh,
Look at you, you're miserable.
that was pretty wild. Now it's bedtime. We're going to do the hike out here. It's a pretty long hike. Sean's walking backwards, just checking the
Slow down.
bouncing children behind him. It's Daisy pushing me. It's all uphill.
What about the transfer? How was the transfer?
Actually, that was easier. The last time I did it, I got my legs caught. I think I pulled the bar down a little bit, but that one I found it a lot easier.
Yeah, you leaned on the bar and pulled it down a bit trying to get in, didn't you?
Yeah, on the last one.
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Oh god, I'm kind of like dying here.
There was one bit where it made you jump up from your seat a bit.
Yeah, that's one of that. Yeah, I got that.
Yes, I got that bit as well.
I was like, ooh.
I will say something though, just a pro tip for you, that it is really late at night. It's like 10, maybe past 10 o'clock, and I'm getting really tired. And I would recommend, if you've got sort of like hypermobility and things like that, that you don't go on the faster rides when you're tired, because when your muscles are fatigued as well and you're being thrown around, it really makes it even more tiring, if that makes sense. So make sure that you do the fast, thrilling rides earlier on in the day.
You do hit hot spots though. Yeah. It looks just like it. God, it's tempting right now, doesn't it? Daisy, we get to go in a big seashell. Again, they stopped it.
We're in the clam! Woo! And again, it's got one of those like travel aided things, but they stopped it for us so that we were able to take our time and transfer into the shell. I never thought I would say transferring into a shell, but there we go. Getting ready for our mermaid voyage adventure. Yeah!
Now what you can see in front of you here is a wheelchair accessible shell. So the back comes down and you can ride your wheelchair straight into the shell and you don't have to transfer. You can see where the stingrays are on the floor. That's the moving travelator that they stop for you so that you can transfer the way I did into one of the normal shells.
Headless Horseman's hooves, because we are currently at
Haunted Mansion!
I'm so excited. Daisy is not too sure, but her 2-year-old cousin has been on it.
Yeah.
And there it is. Whoa.
Okay, so we're just currently waiting for the haunted mansion, and there is a moving platform that goes quite fast, and if you ask, you can have the platform stopped for you so you can transfer into the car, which is what we're currently waiting for now.
Due to some technical difficulties, we don't have any footage of me actually transferring at the Haunted Mansion, but the cars are exactly the same as the Voyage to the Little Mermaid, so they stopped the travelator completely and I was able to do a side transfer really easily into the Haunted Mansion car. However, I don't think there are any wheelchair accessible cars.
Take my elephant.
Okay, so we're outside the Pirates of the Caribbean and we're going to find out how easy or hard it is to transfer in and out. So come on, let's go.
Let's go with her. Let's go with her.
Come on, hurry up, there's no time to lose. We've got a fast pass. Wheelchair users.
But not Splash Mountain.
It's going to be quite hard to get parallel.
So I couldn't quite get parallel to the ride, so I had to kind of do a pivot transfer. So I pushed myself forward to the edge of my wheelchair, then I threw my legs into the boat, and then I just kind of held on to whatever I could and sort of like let myself down. As I said, gravity works in your favour.
So it's a little bit wet, but they have made it sort of non-slip here, so that's a good thing.
Ahead for a 10.
We're back. Okay.
So to get out, I put my bottom onto the side of the boat and then I kind of worked myself up trying to grab hold of whatever I could to slide myself back into the boat. Now what you can't see is to the right of the screen a whole boat of people waiting to get off, watching me.
Alright, so we've got to get our own private lift up. But yeah, as you can see, that was
What do I do?
quite challenging. And I also had a captive audience. They found that more entertaining than the ride, I think. I don't know if you were able to see that.
Because we're full.
Yeah, I was
Like this,
panicking for a bit there. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make this, but yeah. I made it!
We're done.
What's the pub? In it?
The what?
The pub that was in it.
Oh, yeah! I can't remember.
The toilets. That looks nice, doesn't it?
Doesn't it look so cool?
Oh, it's Rapunzel's horse.
Oh, of course, Maximus.
Where's Maximus?
Maximus Hooves in the...
Ah, right, yeah. When they're chasing Flint.
Moving on to It's a Small World now, which is a boat ride. Now this is fantastic because you don't have to necessarily transfer out of your wheelchair. There is a wheelchair accessible boat that you can roll your wheelchair right onto. I decided to transfer into the boat from my wheelchair, which I found relatively easy. It didn't seem too low down from memory, and there's no awkward sides to get over or under or anything like that, so I kind of was able to just do a normal transfer.
Daisy, you excited?
Oh my.
Look at the houses!
I'm also a little,
Mr. Answer.
I'm also a little nervous.
Yeah?
This is the Dwarf mine train, which was one of Daisy Belle's absolute favourites. Now, I am so disappointed I could cry. Again, we had some technical difficulties and I don't have any footage of me transferring on and off this ride, but it was fantastic. It was opened in 2014, so it's a very new ride. And what they have is a special side that comes down so that you're able to get your wheelchair parallel to the cart, and you can just transfer straight into the seat. Almost becomes like a sliding board. It's really, really clever. It's very similar to transfer onto as the Slinky Dog Ride in Hollywood Studios, which I'm happy to say we have filmed. So make sure to subscribe because transferring on all of the rides at Hollywood Studios will be up very, very shortly. As the Mine Train and Slinky Dog are such new roller coasters, they are so smooth. So if you have any sort of hypermobility and you're worried about jarring any muscles or anything like that, I would definitely recommend you try out these ones first, just to kind of break yourself in. It was so smooth and really, really good fun as well.
Oh, that's back. Now we're back, aren't we?
Just waiting for Big Thunder Mountain. I'm so excited. Daisy's never ridden it before.
I'm nervous.
I think here's our train. Our train is coming. Oh.
Train, and be sure to watch your kids. If any of you folks are wearing hats or glasses.
This is a Runaway roller coaster kind of ride. It was built in 1979, so it's a pretty old roller coaster. I honestly can't remember what transferring was like. I don't think that there were any sides that they could let down, so it was kind of a bit more tricky as it is one of the older ones. Now this one is so rickety and so jerky, so I would definitely bear that in mind. You know, it really did throw me around and throw my neck around, which I found quite painful, but it is good fun. We only rode it once because of this, and I would definitely make sure you sit with someone so you're not being thrown around like I was sat on my own.
What did you think?
That was amazing.
It was so good, wasn't it? Did you enjoy it, Shauna?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. It was longer than I thought.
Between Splash Mountain and this, I'll go on Splash Mountain, but still I love that.
You love this, yeah. It's longer than I thought though. It's quite a long ride, isn't it? You bounced around in your seat.
We got bounced. I got bounced. Like, see, that's me sitting on my seat.
Yeah.
I went boom.
I got thrown around a little bit like a rag doll. So I was sat on my own. So I was like all over the place. Alright, we're currently in line waiting for the Peter Pan ride while the fireworks are on, and we're going to see how this transfer works. This is on a moving platform, but hopefully they can get the platform to stop for me.
Do the bells, Daisy. That's cool, look at that. That's my shadow. Jim, come down so other people can get on. That was me, because you can see the camera shadow, look. You get a butterfly. No. Jim, come down. Jim. Did it? Let other people have a go. It's cool. That was so cool, wasn't it?
Really
the
cool.
bells.
Yeah.
That's great how they do that.
Yeah.
That's teeth.
You're going to stop the moving platform for me so I'm able to transfer a little easier.
Now this is not easy because you can't take your wheelchair on the travelator even if it's stopped because it's narrow. So Sean had to actually carry me into one of the little boats. So if you can't walk at all or take a few steps, then this is almost impossible for you to transfer onto. You need to have someone strong to either lift you in, or you need to take a couple of steps in order to board this ride.
Did you enjoy that?
That was so fun.
What was your favourite bit?
I don't know.
We are just waiting for the bus to go take us back to the resort. We have had like, I'm so tired, I can't talk. We have had a full-on day.
Hang on. Pause right there. I just want to see how wobbly my tooth is because my tooth is really wobbly.
It's relevant to Mummy's filming why.
So we have had a full-on non-stop day at Disney Magic Kingdom today. I think I've had one of the best days here today. We've done like 6 rides, some of them we've done twice, and now we've kind of watched a little bit of the fireworks before we left, and now we're currently waiting for our bus to take us
We've done
home.
about 10 or 12 rides.
10 or 12 rides? Right,
We
Sean's
did
going to
some
count
with
them and then I'm going to let you know.